Do you have proof of that? I'll withdraw that.
Hello, for the Danville County Watchdogs, I'm John Kraft.
I'm Kirk Allen.
And today, we're going to talk about Vermilion County and the two memos that were discussed in part at the October Vermilion County Board meeting. These two memos were dealt with the county board's reason for installing a $3,000 4-camera security camera recording system in the boardroom, and the second one was the Assistant State's Attorney's opinion on what constitutes professional services. So the first memo, it wasn't dated, it wasn't signed. It said it came from the county board office.
Wasn't signed. Boy, that's classic.
Yeah, wasn't it? Nobody can be held accountable. But I think the Assistant State's Attorney had something to do with it, since he's the one that mentioned it. And he said that he gave it to the board members.
Yeah.
So anyway, just for the record, the Edgar County Watchdogs support all efforts of all public bodies to record and upload every meeting video possible so the public is more informed.
Absolutely.
Our school district, well, one of them, uploads their public meetings, and our city uploads some of them.
County does them all now.
And our county does them all now, so that's a good thing. We're glad they're doing it. And let's see, what else do we have? Okay, this letter talks about a lot of things, but and I'm sure Kirk does, think that this letter gives the appearance of being hostile towards citizens and those that wish to speak out during public sessions.
Without a doubt.
And we also believe they're attempting to document something that never happened.
Well, he definitely claims some things have happened that have never happened.
So they can use it at a later date and give whoever reads it the assumption that it did happen, even though it never did. So here's some of the things that they talked about. Intimidation and bullying. Claims that the board members were physically accosted, which isn't true. I questioned two board members at one board meeting as to why they felt. I asked if they would tell me why they felt they could walk out during public session and why they didn't feel they need to be there and listen to the public talk. One board member engaged me in conversation, and the other one just kept right on walking, which goes into the physically blocked from movement, which that never happened. And they claim that public sessions were attempts at intimidation and bullying, and that the speeches during public session are growing increasingly violent and have a disruptive tone. Well, you know, public session is public session. People can say what they want.
And the tone, that's not for the county board to determine a person's tone.
No.
It's interesting to read their comments, though. I mean, he claims board members, not just one, they're claiming members have been physically blocked in their movement here and in public in an attempt at intimidation. He's making a statement of fact.
That's right. Well, we don't know who made that statement. It's not signed.
Another great one of them inter-office memos that nobody wants to stand behind.
So I did a FOIA request asking for proof or anything substantiating the claims. I doubt if I could get anything back. Okay, now the end of that memo, gives us the impression the board's not listening, and they're trying to keep from listening. They even say there's nothing they can do about the wind turbines, and if they did anything, it would be illegal, which is wrong. How can they do nothing and other counties increase their setbacks time and time again? Vermilion County is one example.
I mean, Iroquois?
Or Iroquois County is one example, and they drastically increased their setbacks. It wasn't illegal.
They just don't want to do zoning in Vermilion. But they could still increase their setback with their land use because the size of the turbines have grown quite a bit from what the original concept was.
So did you actually read that last paragraph? The majority of people have chosen to allow wind turbine activity. I don't think so.
Was that on the ballot?
It was never a ballot question.
So how did he determine that?
Just trying to pull the wool over everybody's eyes. What he meant to say was the majority of the county board members at the time that voted allowed wind turbine activity, not the majority of people.
Right. He specifically says people.
And he also said the majority have rejected zoning. I don't believe that was a ballot measure either.
I have to come back to this comment he makes. The line has been crossed in the tone of some public comment. Where do these people get off thinking they can determine the tone people are going to have at a public comment section?
I know, that's funny, isn't it?
It's unbelievable. I mean, have they forgot our First Amendment?
Yeah, well, they never do it.
I am beyond myself.
Here, let me tell them. It says in part that Congress, that includes local governments too, shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or of the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for redress of grievances.
I didn't see the word tone in there.
I didn't say they had to have a good tone to their voice. You want somebody to sing it to you?
I mean, I'm amazed. Is there not one military member in that county board?
Well, there's one.
That's right, we spoke to that.
At least one.
Yep. Have they forgotten the First Amendment? They want everybody to be all nice and polite. I understand being courteous in a meeting, but sometimes the tone sets the stage for what's really going on, and it's pretty evident. Who set the tone initially when we were up there?
The county board chairman.
That's right. County board chairman came up and did what? He tried.
Well, hold on a minute. Because I believe the guy that's in charge of 4 local area radio stations complained to him about where we sat the first time we went up there. The second time, go ahead.
The second time he came up and he did what to us? He attempted to intimidate us by touting his title as if he's going to control where we're going to sit.
And demanding press credentials.
He doesn't have a right to demand squat. He's a county board chairman who has the same power as every other body, every other member of that public body. The only thing he does is run the meetings and sign contracts.
We had our press credentials with us.
It's not our job to show it to him. Not our obligation.
Yeah. And if his tone would have been different, we probably would have whipped it out and showed him.
Tone didn't bother him, though, did it? But now he wants to tell everybody else what their tone should or shouldn't be in a public meeting. This is going to be fun.
Yeah.
I can see this already.
Let's move on to the $637,500 no bid contract, and Mr. Donahue's attempts at justifying calling that a professional service.
Well, he went out of his way on that one. You know, it's ironic. The county code requires the purchase of materials, service, equipment, or supplies in excess of $30,000 is to be put out for bid. And
Except for professional services.
Except for professional services, which GIS is not a professional service. There's an actual statute that outlines what a professional service is.
Well, you know, they've added other professional services through court proceedings in the past.
He doesn't cite one of those relating to counties, though, does he?
No, and everything he cites was put out for bid.
Every single case that he cites was put out for bid.
That's funny. That's funny.
He's trying to build a case.
Justify not putting something out for bid by citing everything that went out for bid.
There's what, four? Was it?
Yeah.
3 or 4 court cases, three court cases and an AG opinion. In every single case, they were all put out for bid.
Let's talk about Court Street Steakhouse in County of Tazewell. That was let out for bid. Apparently, 2 companies bid on food service for the jail, for the inmates.
Yep.
There's a $1,400 difference in price. Tazewell County used their judgment and selected the second lowest bidder because that second lowest bidder was a nonprofit and hired mentally handicapped persons, and it was the judge called it a social goal of Tazewell County. But anyway, that was let out for bid.
And it confirms the Illinois Supreme Court held the proper statute for county government. He cites the statute, which is the statute for putting it out for bid.
Yeah. And the next one is American Healthcare Providers, County of Cook.
That's Cook County. That's Home Rule County.
All that basically did was reaffirm Cook County has the right for home rule. Even though those arguments, that contract was let out for bid also. Shively at Belleville Township High School, another one, let out for bid.
Yep.
Well, there were 5 companies requested to submit solicitations, which, if you look at the bid rigging statute, that constitutes a bid letting.
Yep. Anytime you request it, that's qualifies for putting it out for bid.
And then finally, he cites an Attorney General opinion about a township assessor.
This is a good one. Of all cases, this is actually kind of funny. Township. Aren't we talking Vermilion County?
Yeah. Township don't go by township code. But yeah. The AG determined a township assessor was a professional service, even though it's not listed in the professional services statute. Now, the reason is because there are specific education requirements and certifications and licensure requirements that are required in accordance with the property tax code of any assessors. That is why the Attorney General determined a township assessor was a professional service. Granted, you know, Mr. Donahue was correct in citing one of the paragraphs about professional services are sometimes there's no definite definition, but whatever it is, if it involves essentially a mental product, like a township assessor, then it could be a professional service. GIS is mainly coding, when you're doing sitting at a desk and typing.
I like the part that he left out, though. That AG opinion, it says, it is well recognized that professional services are not primarily work or labor oriented, but instead involve essentially a mental product.
And what does this contract involve? A set number of hours worked.
Yeah.
With certain people being the laborers. Labor, it doesn't mean labor as in, you know, roofer, or guy that shovels gravel, or somebody puts on siding or installs windows, or a plumber. The laborer is anybody that does any type of labor, including sitting at a computer.
And then it even goes on, it further states that competitive bidding was primarily for good and services contract where a good or service is actually delivered.
That would be GIS.
Yes, it would. And when you read his letter, this next to last paragraph, the GIS contract requires significant profession and judgment and decision making. Significant profession, what's that mean? They're not licensed by the state,
Yeah, that's right.
not licensed or controlled by any agency in the state. So he's trying to imply they're a professional service by saying it requires significant profession and judgment and decision making. Well, any business owner makes decisions all the time. In this case, we are relying upon the personal skill and judgment of multiple people. So now we've stepped outside of a professional, as he's trying to call them, because now we're talking multiple people. So you have an engineering firm, it's the engineer that's a professional, not all the people working for him. Nice stretch, Mr. Donahue, but it ain't gonna work.
So, there you have it.
Only in Vermilion County.
Yeah. And Edgar.
And Edgar. And Ford.
And Douglas.
Oh, we could go on for hours. Well, we'll see you next time.